Take a stroll in Beijing and you'll quickly find some authentic Turkish food.
Turkish bread.
Spanish paella.
Here it is, paella.
A gourmet French banquet.
Mussels in white wine.
As people are exposed to food from around the world, they begin to develop a taste for different cuisines. Nevertheless, there are still foods waiting to be discovered deep in China's mountains. In the ocean, the deserts, the grasslands and rivers. We are on a quest to discover these secret realms. Dali Nur, Inner Mongolia. The winter temperature drops to minus 30 degrees Celsius.
Bring it here.
Today, a large hole will be made in the ice that covers the lake. Dali Nur is Mongolian for ocean lake.
Pull hard.
This is the first trawl of the year.
We need 13 holes.
In this semi-alkaline lake lives a type of fish called the amur-eyed. Amur-eyeds are very choosy about their habitat. Amur-eyeds grow very slowly, weighing only 200 grams after 4 years. A 500-gram eyed is a premium catch. The first trawl nets 30,000 kilos of fish. To conserve the stocks, the fishermen limit their catch to 300,000 kilos per winter. The best way to preserve the natural flavor of a freshly caught amur-eyed is to steam it. In the freezing winter of the grasslands, the appetizing hot and sour flavor is a boost to the spirits. Add a pinch of salt and saute lightly for 3 to 5 minutes. The fish soon gives off a pleasing aroma. Villagers keep it simple by just stewing the fish on a wood-fire stove. The fishermen enjoy the fruits of their labor, the reward for the hard work they put in 6 months ago.
Bring in the fish.
It's May. Dali Nur has just awoken. With the water temperature at 8 degrees Celsius, the amur-eyeds are ready to leave the lake and swim upstream. Fishermen are getting busy.
It's a cold year. It's May, but the ice hasn't melted.
Feng Junjia and his team put bamboo stakes in the river and lay bundles of cotton grass around them. Cotton grass is an early herald of the arrival of spring in Dali Nur. The fish swim more than 10 kilometers upstream. It's a dangerous journey. The early birds are waiting to get a feast. Migrating gulls feed on amur-eyeds to build up their strength before completing their flight to Siberia. In the single week when the fish are swimming upstream, over 400,000 of them will be eaten by birds. The fish haven't had anything to eat all winter. An unknown future lies ahead of them upstream. Fung and his team are setting up 2,000 meters of cotton grass bundles in the 4 tributaries of the Dali Nur. Swimming against the current is hard work for the fish, but it helps their sex glands mature and speeds up the spawning process. It's a contest by natural selection. Only the fittest will reach the spawning grounds. The amorites can be caught with bare hands, but this isn't the time. After nightfall, the predators stop roaming and the fish step up their efforts. They need to find a spawning ground. With the scarcity of aquatic weeds, it isn't easy to find a suitable spot. The cotton grass bundles turn out to be the perfect maternity ward. Without them to attach to, the fish eggs would not survive. Once the fish finish spawning, they return to the lake. When the fry hatch in 10 days' time, they will follow their parents. In this secret realm of the grasslands, humans and fish work together to find the equilibrium to survive. We now head far to the south, to Beihai, a coastal city on the Gulf of Tonkin. Few here realize that a school of creatures who were contemporaries of the dinosaurs are gathering on a beach less than 100 kilometers away. The tide has gone out. Sand crabs are about to have dinner on the beach, their own secret realm. Zhou Jinmeng is on her way home.
I grew up by the sea. When I was little, I'd go to the beach with Grandma. I'd bring a bucket or a bag. I'd catch crabs as she collected sandworms.
Zhou Jinmeng is at university in Sichuan. In the summer holidays, she always visits her grandparents.
Grandma doesn't do that anymore. Now, Mum makes sand crab sauce for her.
Sand crabs are agile creatures. They're only 2 centimeters long, but they have a top speed of 1.6 meters per second. That is fast, but Mother's hands are faster. Beihai was one of the first ports on the ancient South China Sea route known as the Maritime Silk Road. Its cuisine reflects the cultural melting pot of Guangdong, Guangxi and Southeast Asia, but sand crab sauce is uniquely Beihai. Mid-August. The best time to collect sand crabs is at low tide after dark. Sand crabs live on algae and seawater found in the sand. The plentiful supply of both has ensured the crab's survival for millions of years. Food chains are always linked with one another. The beach race between sand crabs and humans never ends.
They're everywhere.
Sand crab sauce is easy to make. The crabs are washed and gutted before being crushed. Add some salt and cooking wine. Sand crabs have almost no meat, but they make a marvelous condiment.
For us, sand crab sauce is just as essential as salt and soy sauce.
The newly made sauce smells fishy because the fat in it oxidizes. The key step in perfecting the taste is fermentation. The protease produced by microorganisms breaks down the proteins in the crabs into polypeptides, or free-form amino acids. Sand crab sauce is at its best after fermenting for 1 month. The sauce is most commonly served with cowpeas. Simmer them on medium heat for 10 minutes. The appetizing sauce makes the plain cowpeas a real treat. White-cut chicken, an iconic Cantonese dish, is cooked over a low heat until it's 80 to 90% done. It's commonly served with shallots and soy sauce, but to the Beihai locals, its perfect match is none other than sand crab sauce.
As far as I recall, I got to know about food through sand crab sauce. It tastes better with the sauce, or it has to go with the sauce.
A little sand crab sauce adds a lot of flavor. It's a miracle that's been hidden in its own secret realm for millions of years. The ancients were very good at finding exciting things in the wild to spice up their diet. As the Murgol River overflows during the flood season, one flower blossoms. Shijile's family owns 600 square kilometers of grassland and 4,000 sheep. She's driving the flock back early. A guest is coming. Her cousin, Chi Bore, has traveled 100 kilometers to see her. On this vast grassland, people seldom get to catch up with one another. But wild leek flowers bring them together once a year. Wild leeks blossom for just 1 week in the year. But the nomads have a traditional way of preserving the fragrant flowers for up to a year. Leek flowers are rich in sulfur compounds, which makes them especially pungent. Grinding breaks up the cells of the flowers and releases the compound. This means that the unremarkable grassland is home to a remarkable condiment, leek flower sauce. The nomads are preparing fodder ahead of winter.
We start gathering fodder in August. It's Dad's busiest month. He works hard to give us a good life.
Summer grazing is coming to an end. A customary meeting is held before the nomads move on to the next spot. Meat makes up a large part of the diet for those who live on the grasslands. A basic cooking style suits the nomadic way of life. Hand-held mutton. It's cooked over a high heat for 40 minutes. In all this time, no condiments at all are added. The mutton would be bland, if not for the leek flour sauce. The sodium molecules in the sauce react with the unsalted mutton, causing the sulfur compounds to create a slight burning sensation that intensifies the taste. The leek flour sauce also provides the natural vitamins needed to digest the meat. Mutton with leek flour sauce. The ancient recipe of the grasslands is brought to modern restaurants in Beijing. They use over a dozen condiments, but the cornerstone condiment is still leek flour sauce. The 5,000-kilometer Great Wall was once the boundary between the nomadic way of life and crop farming. Lamb has a long tradition in the diet, north and west of the Great Wall. The Taklamakan Desert, the driest place in China, and the furthest from the ocean of any desert in the world.
Let's go home, son.
Yaman Baika is the village closest to the desert. Wubuli Kasumu Balati is preparing for a desert banquet. Sheep tripes make natural cooking vessels. The marinated lamb is placed inside the tripe, which is leak-proof and elastic. It's not uncommon in China to cook food in animal tripes, but the way it's done here is not seen anywhere else. A charcoal fire is the key to cooking in the desert. The temperature of the sand beneath the charcoal is over 180 degrees Celsius. It's a natural oven that distributes heat evenly to the food. You can't see the lamb as it cooks. You can only go by experience. 4 hours later, the lamb has an intense aroma. The fatty meat has turned crispy, the lean meat is nice and tender. The lamb is soft and juicy. Humans learned to cook with fire 1.5 million years ago. Scientists believe that is what made us what we are today. The Yellow River shaped the Helan Mountains and created the Ningxia Plain. Almost every gourmet in China believes the best lamb is found here. The key is not to add any salt during cooking. As a strong electrolyte, salt disrupts cell membranes in the meat, causing it to release water and toughen. After simmering for 2 hours on a low heat, the muscle fibers soften and become well soaked. The lamb is nice and tasty, neither greasy nor smelly. Salt is sprinkled on only when it's about to be served. This seasons the meat bringing out its freshness without compromising its soft texture. The Chinese character for fresh is made up of fish and sheep. Fresh is the highest compliment for any food. Lamb is a common dish throughout China, but it's prepared differently in different parts of the country. It's at its simplest in the north, a fact that reflects the grower's confidence in the quality of the meat. The environment must be able to sustain our food production. Insatiable demand saw the number of sheep in Ningxia surge to the point that the grassland became a partial desert. The threat of full desertification compelled the growers to strike a balance between food production and the environment. The sheep bleat as punctually as an alarm clock. A busy day begins with feeding. Ma Asha and her husband have to feed over 2,000 sheep. They work 12 hours a day.
Sheep farmers don't take any holidays. The sheep have to eat. If you take even just a day off, they go hungry.
The main fodder for the sheep here is silage. Silage is made from ground and fermented corn stalks and clover. It mimics the nutritional content of natural grazing. The Ningxia plain sits on a shifting sandline. Large-scale grazing is now banned there in an effort to protect the environment. To ensure that lamb does not disappear from our menus, growers have had to devise a man-made habitat that resembles nature. Ma Asha is an ethnic Hui. She was a top student at an Arabic language school. She met young Guo Wei 6 years ago and married him, settling in dry and barren Haiyuan.
I had big plans when I was single. I wanted to study abroad to become a teacher. But for women, it's also a blessing to find a good husband and live a peaceful life.
She's now a mother of 2. The couple moved to the farm 4 months ago to build their dream home. This type of work may be physically demanding, but it guarantees a steady income. The couple live a frugal life, working hard every day to provide others with fresh lamb. Steamed shredded potato is her children's favorite. This dish makes an ordinary ingredient something out of the ordinary. It was invented by people living in these mountains. The Chinese are good at coming up with great food in everyday circumstances. Especially in extreme environments, they find comfort in their delicacies.
Son, do you know where we're going?
To the wheat field.
What's made of wheat?
The annual rainfall at the southern end of the Taklamakan Desert is 15.6 millimeters, which is typical for a continental desert. Wheat is the most adaptable of all cereal grasses. Just like the local people, it too finds a way to survive under extreme conditions. The villages and farmlands suffer regular invasions of sand, yet the locals persevere generation after generation. Flour is first leavened before being made into dough. Vents prevent the dough from puffing up during baking. Chopped onions and sesame seeds give it an enchanting aroma. Xinjiang naan, a delicacy that's been around for 2,000 years. When heated, the sugars in the flour dehydrate and break down, turning the naan golden brown and giving it an aroma of fragrant wheat. It takes only 10 minutes to bake a naan, but the tradition has been around for millennia. Naan is a model food for a harsh environment. It resists both drying out and rotting, and in the desert it can last for months. Human ingenuity can make any place a secret realm of gourmet food, however barren the land might be, or however deep the ocean. On the coast, more than 3,000 kilometers from the desert, is the Pearl River estuary. A typhoon is coming, but Zhang Beigun and his wife are reluctant to go home empty-handed. They're fishing for groupers, a fish that hides in crevasses 10 meters down. The couple can detect the slightest bite on their lines. They've been getting nothing but small fish.
The weather this year is strange. We're being hit with typhoons that disrupt the season. There's no sign of any groupers.
Groupers can only be angled, not netted. Because of their firm, tender-textured flesh, they are, by reputation, the most delicious of all saltwater fish. China's territorial waters contain over 5,000 islands. One of them is Wanshan Island, home to 110 households in an area of only 8 square kilometers. As it's near the estuary, seawater and freshwater mingle there, providing a fertile environment for fisheries. Mr. and Mrs. Zhang grew up on the island. They know the delicacies of the sea very well. Fish and prawns release inosinate as they dry. They are both rich in glutamine too. When the drying is complete, the two substances interact to create some extraordinary flavors. Flavors that also form the base of MSG and chicken essence drinks. You only have to steam the dried fish or prawns for 10 minutes to unlock and restore the flavors. The typhoon has gone. The Zhangs sail further out to try their luck again. They study the rock formations to work out where the groupers are hiding. Nobody knows the secret of this better than Zhang. Groupers come out to look for food in the morning, when the sea isn't choppy. Zhang once caught a 30-kilo grouper with this hook. The waves are picking up. The couple still haven't caught any groupers.
Got it. I've got one. Hurry up.
It's their first grouper of the year. Under 5 kilos, but still a good start. Fishing used to be their livelihood. Now it's a pastime. Their children have their own families in the city. They'd like their parents to move in with them, but Zhang doesn't want to become a burden, nor would he want to leave behind the secret realm beneath the water. In another secret realm, there's a species that came into being some 250 million years ago. Termites don't know that their hard work helps to create a unique taste for humans. Mount Awa sits on the border of China and Burma, with the Tropic of Cancer running through it. July is the busiest month for Li Shaoqi and Auntie Wei Xiu. They make a living growing tea trees. Beneath this rotten wood lies a prehistoric world. These insects belong to a branch of Macrotermitinae. The worker ants eat leaves and grass and spit out a semi-digested paste. They inject into the paste a type of fungal spore that ferments and puffs up. Termites learned the skill of fermentation 32 million years ahead of the rise of humans. The spores gradually develop into small fungi. They thrive in the right temperature and humidity. The fungi are termite mushrooms, a remarkable delicacy grown by termites. Gourmets believe that apart from their sweetness and silky texture, it is the meat-like taste of termite mushrooms that makes them stand out from other edible fungi. Termite mushrooms are rich in aspartic acid and glutamic acid. When stir-fried with salt, they produce natural MSG, which is the source of their extraordinary flavour. Behind the tea tree farm is a dense forest. Auntie Wei Xiu knows over 300 locations for termite mushrooms. The termites in every nest sow spores once a year. The first one to find them gets to collect the mushrooms.
Auntie, where are you?
This should be the peak season for termite mushrooms, but they find none. Li is disappointed, but Auntie Wei isn't worried. Nobody knows more than she does about the mushrooms' locations.
Xiaoqi, there are some termite mushrooms here.
Termite mushrooms are at their most delicious when they first pop out of the ground and their caps are not yet extended.
Auntie, look, there are heaps here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't dig too deep or the nest will crumble. There'd be no more mushrooms.
The two respect the natural world. They cover the site up to hide it from other people, but more importantly, to protect the termite nest. They leave no trace of their presence in this tropical forest on the China-Burma border. China borders 14 countries. Countless people comb its borderlands looking for the secret realms of gourmet foods. Zhang Junshu and her husband Shun Fungi are on their way to the Changbai Mountains, on the border with North Korea. They're searching for an ancient plant. A hike of 15 kilometers proves a challenge for this couple in their 70s.
Be careful.
They're looking for these ferns, which have just sprouted. Ferns played an important role in the diet of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Ferns are found right across China. No matter how they're cooked, they have a bitterness that's never quite High mountains, the window for fern picking lasts no more than 30 days.
This one's fine.
Zhang used to go fern picking by herself when young. She'd carry home 20 kilos worth. The delicacies found in ferns is harmful to humans. Boiling can remove some of it.
Done.
Kneading the ferns expels water and breaks the coarse fibers on their skin, helping to create a crunchy and chewy texture. Dehydration helps to preserve them over time. For a long time, there has been a quest to find the best storage method to preserve all these tastes. The people of Madawa have discovered the secret of preserving the flavor of termite mushrooms. Auntie Wei is using these fresh ones to make termite mushroom oil. Heating expels any water from the mushrooms, which are then dried over a low heat. Vegetable oil is the key to locking in the flavor. As the oil gets hotter, the mushroom's flavor and aroma are transferred to the oil. After 3 hours simmering, the termite mushroom oil smells and tastes fantastic. It can stay fresh for 2 years. All these harsh, widely separated natural environments have preserved their secret realms and their many remarkable delicacies. None of Zhang's children live with her. They all live far away, but every year she sends them dried ferns. Food, a faithful messenger, carries messages of love from home. Not every secret realm is hidden away in the mountains. This is a busy open-air kitchen amidst the hustle and bustle of the city. It overflows with pleasant aromas. For those who finish work late at night, this is their dining room. Behind the skyscrapers in the central district of Hong Kong are the gradually disappearing food stalls.
Hong Kong is a stressful place. After a hard day's work, they come here to have a meal, to chat with friends, to talk about things they couldn't talk about at work, and to let off steam.
Lau Fat Chiang's family set up a food stall here in Sham Shui Po 20 years ago. Rapid urban development saw street food stalls being cleared, so they moved into a street-side shop.
My siblings and I grew up in the shop. We grew up in it and with it.
For 60 years, since Lau's grandfather's time, the family has specialized in one dish, wonton noodles. Many of their customers have been coming for decades. Prawn wonton noodles, handmade egg noodles, beef tendons and tasty prawns. The intense flavors are embedded deep in the fabric of Hong Kong. Customers are still lured by their vivid memories of the food they have tasted there.
Yin, 1 bowl of prawn noodles.
Mr. Lau Sr. is now 80. He sits in the shop for a while every evening. It's the time of day he enjoys the most.
Dad used to set up his food cart at this intersection. Then he moved to this spot to set up a food stall. Food stalls were banned in 1993, so we moved into this shop. We've never left this intersection.
The dough is made using duck eggs without a single drop of water in order to guarantee a firm texture. Pressing the dough with a piece of bamboo also enhances the texture.
Some customers travel across town for our noodles. I've been serving them since I was young, since we were at the food stall. Customers come here for the authentic, traditional flavors.
– 2 a.m. The last customer has just left. The shop closes and the city calls it a day. "60 years ago, there were some 800 food stalls scattered across Hong Kong. Today, only 28 remain. The stalls witnessed the transformation of Hong Kong and are now part of its collective memory."
We've been here nearly 4 months.
In Wuzhong, in Ningxia province, Ma Asha counts the days since they arrived, but their life there is just beginning. In Hetian, Xinjiang province, Wubali Kasumu is storing the newly harvested wheat in the barn. On the Hulunbea grassland, the leek flour sauce that Chibura made is enough to last the family till next spring. The world is turning ever more rapidly into a global village. However, so long as we keep loving and anticipating a particular flavor, that flavor and the values it promotes will continue to guard every unique tribe and every enthralling secret realm. The most precious is often the most ordinary. Home cooking may not look fancy or sophisticated, but it carries life's wisdom and lots of love. The next episode shows how home cooking comforts and delights the hearts and stomachs of the Chinese at every stage of their lives.